Hey guys, King Casey here,
along with TJ,
and today we are going to be doing my Lucario's Productions Timeline Part 2.5. So this part is only going to be covering the adventure side. The rest we'll be saving for Part 3, which is going to be a heck of a long episode, probably an hour I could say, but yeah, we're not going to be wasting any time. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to see all of my future videos, and before we get into the adventures, TJ is going to be talking about something.
Hey guys, like I said before, this is TJ, and before we get into the major adventures, the first thing we needed to talk about is the main thing that leads up to it. At this point, Michelangelo was starting to lose his head, and for some reason he challenged me and my partner Gallade to a fight. So, since I wasn't going to turn down a fight, I brought out Gallade, we activated Battle Bond immediately, he also Mega Evolved, and the battle began. After a furious amounts of attacks and not doing anything to Lucario, or Michelangelo in this case, he instantly trashed us, threw us to the ground, and sent us careening into a wall. He also said to us, "You had better step up your game." But the main thing to talk about before the next part of this is he made a deal. He said, if you could get me down to on one knee, he would not try and end his life. However, if we were unable to, we will just have to let him go. So at this point, this got me flaring. So I decided to do something that I had not done for a long time. Me and Gallade took off the restraints we had on, which after taking them off, our power increased to times 10. We finally were starting to do damage to Michelangelo, but after an amazing round of speed, eventually me and Gallade used one of our trump cards. We slammed a dual drain punch on the ground, which leveled multiple mountain ranges. We crashed Michelangelo under a bunch of rubble. However, he quickly got back up, chucked a bunch of rubble at us, and we were stuck under a bunch of rubble. As he slowly began to turn and start walking away, me and Gallade suddenly got back up with a fiery explosion. When we cleared from the smoke, our auras were suddenly a scarlet red, which is a sign of our strength and determination, showing our powers had fully awakened. At this point, Michelangelo dropped his aura and opened up, saying, "Hit me with your best shot." So me and Gallade launched up a super max powered drain punch, which hit him which gave him a clean hit and sent him careening into the side. When the smoke cleared, Lucario was finally down on one knee. However, this battle wasn't over yet. Michelangelo quickly got back up and flurried me and Gallade with a combination of aura spheres and focus punch. At each other, and eventually me and Gallade both fell. However, we may have lost, but we did save Michelangelo's life. However, immediately afterwards, Michelangelo was transported away from us. However, me and Gallade gave chase. And we ended up in some weird spiral courtroom with Michelangelo on the stand and Dialga as the judge. Dialga was about to give Michelangelo his punishment of taking away his strength and aura completely. But however, I decided to step in and basically say this was my fault in the first place for accepting this challenge. It wasn't his. But then Dialga actually agreed and decided he was going to take away me and Gallade's aura instead. But Michelangelo stepped in front of us saying not to do that. Eventually, we argued for a while. But after Michelangelo yelling at Dialga, saying at least he's going to do something about Oxyon, Dialga basically transported us all away. And from there, we took our leaves, and this is where this story ends.
So the next part of this timeline we are going to be covering is the first adventure we ever went on, the Diamond Mansion adventure. And oh boy, this one was creepy. So pretty much how it started was me, Michello, and MD Gold arrived at the front of the Diamond Mansion. It was my idea to go to some adventures into Lucario's Islands, and then Michello offered to take us a tour of the Diamond Mansion or just explore it. So pretty much me and Michello entered. MD Gold stayed out. I don't know why, but a couple minutes later, TJ shows up while we're inside.
MD Gold basically explained to me what was going on, so I decided to run in after those two.
Yeah.
And then the doors shut behind me.
Yeah, so now me, Michello, and you, TJ, are all stuck in this room, and we get attacked by a dark void. And we all fall asleep because that's what dark void does.
We had no idea where it came from at first, but all will be explained later on.
Yeah. So then pretty much we wake up in a room with a bunch of doors. And
oh boy, this Mario Party random roulette stuff. Here we go.
yeah, and pretty much a random voice told us to just open a bunch of doors and that we could get further into the mansion, aka getting us out. So then we just decided to open up a bunch of doors.
But he also said we had 24 hours to escape this mansion.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that part. But yeah, so pretty much we just all start opening doors like we're just trying to escape. We aren't getting any luck.
Especially since Michelangelo couldn't transform back into human form, and none of us had access to our Pokemon because the Pokeballs just refused to work.
Yeah, stupid mansion. But yeah, eventually we do manage to open it up after a long time.
But in the meantime, Albine just dropped out of nowhere when we opened one random door.
Yeah.
But eventually MD Gold dropped right on top of us as well. He said he was attacked by a dark void as well by something he couldn't make out.
Yeah, so then we finally get into the next room, and there are more stupid doors.
More than the last room, in fact.
Yeah, so we pretty much all decided to split it up into 5 groups, and we started opening random doors again.
However, at this point, I believe Albine, well, he found a random cookie, he ate it, and then turned to stone.
Yeah, so we were all freaking out. We didn't know what was going to happen to Alabin, and we're pretty much all freaking out. We try to open more doors frantically, and I find some random pizza. They tell me not to eat it, but I take it for later. And eventually, we find the next room.
So but beforehand, we decided not to leave him behind, so I was the one carrying him. He was heavy.
Yeah, obviously. But, yeah, so then we get into the next room, and there's even more doors.
Holy.
So, yeah, pretty much now we need to go in and open even more doors, and this time is running out. And then after...
We're about halfway through the time at this point.
Yeah. So,
but we actually found this one a lot quicker than we did the others.
Yeah, because there was a lot of us, and, yeah.
But once we were going through the next hallway, something cut us off from the rest of the group. Me, MD, and Albine were on one side, while you and Michelangelo were stuck on the other side. Going down the next hallway, a mysterious force somehow split the hallway in two, which cut us off from the rest of the group.
Yeah,
Me, MD, and the stone-covered Albine were on one side, while you and Michelangelo were stuck on the other side.
Yeah, I almost got crushed by it, but Michello saved me at the last second. So, pretty much, me and Michello have to go further into the mansion, while you, MD Gold, and Alabin have to go back, and you have a chance to get out.
But beforehand, Michelangelo had me raise Gallade's Pokeball up to the mirror. He sent his aura through the Pokeball, and I was able to bring Gallade out of his Pokeball. But I had to do it fast before time ran out. So, we wished each other good luck, and we split up our separate ways.
So now me and Michello are running down the hall, and there's even more doors. Now there's only 2 of us, so this makes it even harder. Meanwhile, at TJ's side,
there was even less doors, and he said, we're on the lighter side of the mansion, and as soon as you all find the hallways for this one, you will have escaped the mansion.
Yeah, so pretty much while me and Michello are opening a bunch of doors, I get a door that gets a Tyranitar in it, which is really bad. I get shot by a hyper beam in the face, sending me across the room and breaking my leg. Yeah, that wasn't fun.
You're lucky you didn't get killed.
Yeah, by a hyper beam. But then pretty much Michello, I say that I can't move, and he says, you'll be okay, and I get teleported to TJ's side of the mansion.
We noticed you quickly, and this was right before we found the exit. So, with Albine still on my back, I grab you, somehow get a hold of you and get you on my back. At this point, I don't know how much I was carrying, but me and Empty Gold were racing through the final hallway, and with a crazy jump into the light, we managed to make it out of the mansion.
And now, it is only Michello left in the deeper part of the mansion. More Tyranitars show up, and he is forced to fight. Another voice says that he shows up a screen, and pretty much there's not that much time left until pretty much he gets trapped in the mansion forever.
I checked the clock quickly, and there was only about an hour's time left. The screen stayed on while what we saw was a shiny Darkrai went back into the mansion. While we continued to watch the screen, Michelangelo was basically fighting for his life.
Yeah, pretty much the timer was ticking down. The battle was going in Michello's favor, but time was ticking, and this seems like that Michello may fall this battle.
However, he quickly managed to defeat the Tyranitar. However, there was only about 20 minutes left on the timer when he opened the room and out came the shiny Darkrai.
Yeah, this was gonna be a big battle. Yeah. So,
As the fight went on, the time was really ticking down, and it was really going to come down to the wire.
Yeah, pretty much the timer was going down. 10 seconds left on the clock. Michello hit a big bone rush or whatever attack he used, and the timer hit 0. And the screen
disappeared before they managed to make a big clash. And all of us were screaming, no!
Yeah, so we didn't know what would happen next. We thought that Michello was actually dead, but then a little bit later, like 10 seconds later, shiny Darkrai comes exploding out of the mansion, hitting a tree and falling to the ground.
We had no idea where Michelangelo was, but he would end up coming out later. Until then, we surrounded the shiny Darkrai.
Yeah, and we were very mad at it since we thought it killed Michello.
So we're all about ready to just gang up on it since we all now had access to our Pokemon.
Yeah.
But he stopped us first because he had something to say, which blew all of our minds.
Yeah, probably the biggest reveal of the Lucario Productions universe so far.
Other than Michelangelo revealing himself to be Lucario himself, though.
Yeah, but that's for part 3. I'll let you explain this part.
Well, the Darkrai explained that he was Michelangelo's deceased grandfather, or Claus in this case, which blew all of our minds up into the air like crazy.
Yeah, and then pretty much we were gonna go, Michello came out, and he actually gave us all some gifts. I got a shiny Haunter, which I opened from one of the doors, but I couldn't catch it.
By this point, Albine had just disappeared and left, So the Darkrai handed me something and said this was for Albine, which was a bunch of legendary cookies, which I did later give to him.
Yeah.
As for MD Gold's prize, I don't remember what it was.
I think it was like I don't know, but what did you get?
Well, for me, I was given a necklace. However, the Darkrai exclaimed that this was originally my grandfather's, and it was given to him. So decided he was going to give it to me.
Yes.
However, I did have questions about this, so way later on, I went in a third time. But we're not going to talk about that here.
Yeah, that's for next part in the timeline, bud. And then pretty much he gives the 3 legendary birds that he had, and told us to give them to Michello.
Michelangelo already had Articuno, so we didn't know what it was at first.
Yeah.
Eventually when Michelangelo came out, we gave the 2 Pokeballs to him and said, these were given to us. Someone told us to give these to you.
Yeah, and then he opens them, and they're Moltres and Zapdos,
which threw us for a loop.
Yeah, and then Michello exclaims, "No, these were my grandfather's Pokemon. He stole them." And then we have to explain to him how that was his grandfather. He's a hybrid human Pokemon thing like you are.
No, he is now when he was killed.
Yeah, but he
didn't believe us at first, but after a little bit of we had to make him believe us, especially when I had to say, I've never lied to you, and I don't plan on starting now.
Yeah, and then he eventually broke down in tears, and yeah, that was the end of this Diamond Mansion adventure. And yeah, we still got a lot to cover, so let's get moving on to probably a very important next one in the timeline. You guys will just have to find out what that is right now. So this next adventure takes place a day after the Diamond Mansion adventure. Yeah, so pretty much we're just all hanging out, and then we want some more adventure, and Michello offers to take us to the Lucario base,
which made all of us freak out.
Yeah, I mean, we just went through a haunted mansion. Could this be that much worse? That was
in short, probably not, but we were in trouble.
So then Michello opens a portal, since he is Lucario, so he can pretty much do anything he wants, and we jump in through the portal.
For the first part of this, we basically had to go Metal Gear Solid just to sneak into the base.
Yeah, Alvin did some of his, I don't know what device he used, but he pretty much transformed into a grunt, and made some of them distracted so the rest of us could sneak through.
But then he got caught by the leader.
Yeah, and if you don't know, Thomas, the leader of Lucario Space, is Gaming Peter's father and the owner of the Diamond Mansion.
He also has with him a shiny Rayquaza.
Yes, which in my opinion is overpowered.
It's scary, that's for sure.
Yeah, so then pretty much, Alvin is being taken away, so we decided to move in further in and see if we can rescue Alvin.
Well, Michelangelo fends off Thomas, and they both fall out the window. Thomas is knocked out, and Michelangelo has Rayquaza give chase.
Yeah, so now they're duking it out. I'm hiding in a lab currently, not doing much.
While I'm not too far from the same location. While Albine is fending off a bunch of grunts, we sneak around and come across a couple of the Lucario's cast, surprisingly.
I know, Sharp-Eyed Crocodile and another one that I forgot the name of.
I don't remember his name, but he was a star actor.
Yeah, so then pretty much we free all of the Pokemon causing the ruckus, and while I'm about to leave, I see a Pokeball on a desk. And I'm like, this doesn't seem to be any once. If we're gonna throw the Pokemon, guess I'll take this too. And so I grab the Pokeball, throw it in my bag, and we keep on going.
I go back to in case Albine might be in trouble, so I help him fend off the grass. But then Thomas comes back through the window with Rayquaza.
Yeah, and Machello is nowhere to be seen.
So I basically tell Albine, go find Casey and continue on. I'll hold off Thomas in the meantime. I throw out the Lane, and that's the last that was seen of me at this time.
Alright, meanwhile, with me and Alvin, we're just running around the base. We're trying to find a way out of here while TJ is holding off Thomas. So then we eventually find Machello laying, and then he gets up and we all decide to leave the base. Machello opens a portal and we jump through. And then we arrive on the outskirts of the city, or the island. So then pretty much while Machello goes into meditating, I look at the Pokeball that I snatched from the base. And then I tell Gold, who was with us this entire time, we just didn't mention him, I show him the Pokeball and that I found it, and he said we should ask Machello about it. So then I tried to get Machello to wake up. 15 minutes later, he finally comes out, and then I tell him about the Pokeball that I found. So then he scans it with his aura, and he senses that it's scared. So I'm like, alright, let's throw it out. I throw it out, and it's a Zora. A pretty cute Zora, but after Machello scans it, he sees that it has dark DNA in its blood. Pretty much, if you don't know what that is, it's pretty much, it makes your Pokemon evil, but if you bond with it enough, it won't be evil. It will be a lot more powerful, like Gaming Peter's Charizard has dark DNA in it. And
which is why it's so powerful.
Yeah, so Zora has the potential. We'll see how it evolves in the course of these next few months, but pretty much then we all decide to go our separate ways. I head back to my home, and that is pretty much it for the Lucarios, or the Lucamos base adventure.
But before we move on to the next part, yes, I did manage to escape. We never did finish that fight. I got out of there quickly as soon as I sensed that you all had disappeared through a portal. So I basically made my escape with Dragonite and the Lake.
Yeah, they were probably wondering how you got out, but yeah, that was pretty much the Lucamos base adventure. And next one, we decide the next day that we are going to be going after Miguel's Kyurem to find out where it is and see if we can stop Miguel from finding it. If you don't know who Miguel is, stay tuned for a part 3. But yeah, we will see you guys in the Ice Mountain adventure. So the next day, after the Lucamos adventure, we aren't done with adventuring yet. Machello tells me around noon that he wants to go with a group to find Miguel's Kyurem that has been frozen in time. So me, MD Gold, Alabin, and Machello, the normal group for adventuring at this point, we head off towards the Ice Mountains. This would be Zora's first expedition with us, and he's pretty hyped about it. But yeah, pretty much we arrived at the Ice Cavern, and this place is gorgeous and massive. We decide to move in, and there are 2 branching paths. Alvin decides to walk down path left, but then gets trapped by some ice rocks that fall down after a cave-in.
And before the others began to move on towards the second path, I believe you all were ambushed by a couple of ice types.
Yeah, 12 Sneasel and an Abomasnow. So
yes?
While
this was going on, I was on with my legendary Dragonite high in the sky, and eventually I sensed Michelangelo, and I believe he sensed me as well.
Yeah.
So eventually I flew right through the ice caverns, and when I almost got there, you all were about to get attacked by the Abomasnow.
and the Sneasel. So yeah, Michello does a big ground pound attack, taking out 10 of the Sneasel. Zora does a Shadow Ball and Shadow Claw combo, taking out the last two. Then we all gang up on the poor Abomasnow.
And it was about to launch a massive blizzard attack, and then from the back, a flamethrower comes out, taking it out. Which was me arriving right in the nick of time.
Yeah, we were about to lose that blizzard. But then, we don't know where Alabin is at this point in time. Right now, he's actually frozen in an ice cube. So, I'm like, okay guys, I'm gonna go search for Alabin, and I send out something, and I just tell him to use Flame Charge in the direction of the wall, and I run in after Alabin.
Meanwhile, me, Michelangelo, and MD continue down the other path.
Yeah, so then pretty much I arrive at the scene. Alabin's Houndoom is out as always, so I use flamethrower with Starling on Alabin, and then he tells me that something is moving in the darkness, and that's what shot him with the ice beam. So I tell Zora to aim her with a Shadow Claw, but it misses, and it hits an iceberg right above me, and I almost get crushed by an iceberg.
You were lucky to get out of that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, me, Michelangelo, and MD were in the middle of exploring, and we all get behind a giant rig of ice, and what walked by was the Lucarios Island Groudon.
Yeah. Meanwhile, while all of that is happening, me and Alabin are fighting off the second Abomasnow, and we eventually need help. So I yell, guys, we need some help over here.
And by that point, I decided, you all keep going. I'm gonna go back and see if I can find them and bring them back with me. So I run off, and once I make it there, I bring out Gallade, and he quickly deals with the Abomasnow.
Yeah, with just one attack. Pretty good. So then we all get back on our feet. I return Starling, and we move back to join the others of the group.
After we meet up with them, we continued to explore, and eventually we reached a big room, and what showed up in front of us was a shiny Abomasnow.
Yeah, so
which was guarding the path ahead.
Yeah, and Michello said that he wanted to catch this thing for himself. So we all sat back, I opened up some popcorn, and the battle began.
Do you want to go over this fight?
I'll let you go over this one, since you did also find a little somebody in this fight also.
Oh yes, I will. This was a quick round of fighting, but it was very good. Instead, Michelangelo did not fight it himself. He brought out a dark, shiny Halucha, which was very cool.
Yeah, the first time we've ever seen this thing.
He had mentioned to us that actually, Michael actually gave this to him because he said it was worthless. But from what I saw, it did not seem very worthless. It really did very well.
Yeah.
He also quickly captured the Abomasnow.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, while most of us were watching in the back, I come across a shiny Alolan Sandshrew. And it quickly takes a liking to me. So I decided to catch it.
Yeah. And then, while Zora's glaring at them with a mischievous look at his face, I'm just having more popcorn, and Zora is also. And then the battle finishes up. Abomasnow gets caught, and Michelle says if he wins his first tournament match, he'll come back for it. But without further ado, we keep on moving on, and we find more tracks of the Lucarios Island's Groudon. And
after a while, the trail ends, and we basically look up to find the Groudon staring us right in the face.
Yeah, and that was kind of a bit of a jump scare for me. Zora's just glaring back at it, and for some reason, Michello can't talk. For some reason. He's still in this Lucarios form, and he just makes ordinary Lucario noises.
So we basically have to convince the Groudon that it's actually Michelangelo.
Yeah, so that he'll let us through and we just won't get kicked out, making this whole expedition worthless. So about 10 minutes of debate later, we finally get to pass through. Michelle can talk again, and we come across the Kiro.
It was stone at this point.
Yes. So yeah, me and Zora are just looking at it in awe, and yeah.
The big problem was Michelangelo got closer to it, but then the Kyurem's eyes began to glow a golden color. I took this as, I don't think this is good, something's wrong.
Yeah, obviously. Zora got ready to use a Dark Pulse.
But then Michelangelo said, I saw a look at its past, and it feels so sad, I'm going to free it. Just those words alone rose a red flag in my head, and I basically yelled to the others, guys, we got to stop him before he releases the Kyurem.
Yeah, aka he was being controlled by Kyurem at this point in time. But yeah, now we run to go stop him, but it's too late. With a couple of Aura Spears, Kyurem is resurrected.
At this point, Michelangelo is flung to the side and is basically passed out.
Yes. So pretty much I send out my Zora, battle bond it, and yeah.
However, but at this point, I basically held you and MD Gold back and said, no, you guys need to stay back.
Yeah, so
this is going to be too much. Stay out of this.
Yeah, so
I'll do this alone.
So I return my Zora, I get back on my popcorn, and TJ's battle with Groudon, or with Kyurem, begins.
Now this fight was ridiculous. Kyurem had immediately transformed into Black Kyurem, and the battle immediately began. I began by using Fire Punch, but he quickly grabbed it and blocked it immediately and basically just screamed, weak. He had Groudon in a basic hold down, however we escaped by using a massive Eruption Blast. It did cause a little bit of collateral damage, however.
Yes.
After quite a bit of fighting later, he immediately changed into White Kyurem and blasted a Hyper Beam, which sent Groudon smack against the wall. However, we managed to get back up, so me and Groudon decided to use our Trump card that we hadn't used in a very long time. Groudon brings up some Precipice Blades and shoves a Fire Punch down into the Molten Blades. He comes out with a giant Molten Rock Fireball, and we use our Trump card, which we call Molten Blades. Kyurem somehow uses a Hyper Beam and manages to block the attack. At this point, Casey had decided he wasn't going to stand around and watch. He brought in Zorua.
Yeah, and Go.
Which, in the meantime, while Kyurem was distracted, it gave Groudon plenty of time to charge up another Molten Blade attack.
Yeah.
This time it was by dual attacks.
Yeah. I tried to use some Shadow Claws and Shadow Balls against Kyurem, but pretty much after only 2 Shadow Claws and a Shadow Ball, they did nothing, and Zora gets shot with 1 Hyper Beam and taken out of the battle. But it was a good distraction for Groudon to get up those Molten Blades.
Which, by this point, Kyurem looks down to see Groudon up right below it, coming up with a dual uppercut, which caused a massive explosion.
Yeah.
In fact, the blast blew a massive hole in the ceiling of our battle arena.
Yeah. We were trying to knock us.
At this point, Kyurem launched a Thunderbolt at Casey and Zoroark. I had Groudon block the attack, but then he expected that and launched a Hyper Beam right at Groudon's feet, making it collapse. And with that, Kirim escapes through the new hole in the ceiling.
Yeah. And then Ice Groudon comes into the room and he is furious that we resurrected him and we lost. And just to add, if you don't know, TJ's Groudon is the second most powerfulest caught legendary besides Kirim.
We're playing Mario Kart right now. I'm about to destroy you.
Yeah.
Hold on.
But moving
Sorry
on.
about that. I've got a cousin in my room. Inconvenience.
Okay. But moving on. Pretty much, Groudon just got mad at us. We said that we would leave, and we just fly out of the top of the mountain on our flying Pokemon. And later, while we are at Michello's house with me and Gold, it is on the news that Kirim found his way back to Miguel. Damn it.
Yeah, that was an issue.
Yeah, and that is pretty much the end of the Lucarios, or the Ice Mountain adventure. It was one of the more action-packed ones, so we are just going to be moving into the next adventure here, which I believe is the Lucarios Jungle Adventure. So the next part, and the last part for part 1 of this timeline, is going to be the Lucarios Jungle. This one would be a bit of a less intimidating adventure after what we just went through with the Ice Mountain adventure. This one is going to be a lot less intense. So pretty much we get a nice boat. Me, Michello, Alabin, and MD Gold decide to head into the Lucarios jungle. We get on a nice boat. I brought a bunch of food at the beginning and then we set off. We're pretty much just looking around. Looking at all the scenery, seeing all the Pokemon. We aren't allowed to catch anything, so I didn't bring any Pokeballs. But wait, are we missing somebody?
And I basically was flying up in the air going, "You forgot me!"
And then I look up and I'm like, oh, sorry TJ! Just yells it. So then...
I came down for a little bit just to say hi to everybody. But I had somewhere I needed to be, so I looked around for a little bit, but then I had to take my leave and go.
Yeah, so then pretty much we're just going around. We do end up encountering all the 3 of the legendary dog trio, Entei, Raikou, and Suicune. I got pictures of all of them. It was really good. And then we finally stop in the core of the Lucarios jungle. So now we're able to go. MD Gold stayed behind with Shiny Halucha while me and Lucarios run into the deeper part of the jungle heading north. About 15 minutes later of us just running, we come into a clearing. And we hear something in the bushes. So we look over there, Zora looks over, Michello looks over, and it is the legendary dog trio. And they're going over to Michello, and then Michello's like, Casey, film this. I struggled to get out my camera, but I eventually get it and hit record. They go up to him, bow to him, and then go back into the bushes. So pretty much there's only 10 minutes left on the clock for us to get back. And this was going to be a close one. So Michello throws me on his shoulders. He uses extreme speed since he's in Lucario's form, and we barely managed to jump onto the boat with 5 seconds left. And yeah, then we decided to head back, and overall, this part was a pretty relaxing adventure. It was probably the shortest part that we had here, but that was pretty much the last part for part 1, and we will see you guys in the outro. So that was all for part 1 of the Lucarios Productions Timeline, part 2.5. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry we did have to split it into 2 parts. This part was super long. We probably actually are going to name this part 3, actually, since it does deserve to be its own part in the timeline besides a mini part. So TJ, is there anything that you want to say before we end off?
Well, all I can say is stay tuned because the next part of this is going to be coming pretty quickly after this one. As of now, when we're recording this one, as soon as we're done uploading the first part, we are going to immediately begin working on the next part.
Yeah, so you can expect the next part to be out either... It's going to be late. This is Saturday of the Wednesday that this comes out, but anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for part 2 that's coming very soon. I've been your host, Casey, my co-host, TJ, and we will see you guys next time. Bye!
See ya.